What is up? It's Jason Ames with another episode of Games with Ames, and today we are playing Blue-Black Mill Control in Standard. This deck kind of broke out on the scene just this following weekend as a really good strategy to fight the four-color adventure deck that was picking up popularity as the best Omnath show. And it does a pretty good job of that. So you have a whole control interaction plan with, Drown the Lock, Heartless Act, or counter spells like Mystical Dispute, Jawari Disruption. But the main plan of the deck is to mill our opponents out. We do that with Ruin Crab being great at milling a bunch of cards with multiple lands, including Fabled Passage, really good combo. Thieves Guild Enforcer, good in multiples. We have Merfolk Secret Keeper here. And we also have Maddening Cacophony. This is a really busted card where if it's 2, it mills 8, you can kick it for 6, it mills half their library. So potentially like 20 plus cards get milled with this, and you just like run them out of their potential win conditions really quickly. Because of all of this mill, you get to take great advantage of the kind of care about your opponent's number of cards in graveyard cards out of Thorneville Drain and Drown the Lock and Into the Story, which are just great control pieces, right? Drown the Lock, 2 mana, can be a counterspell or murder, and for 2 mana, there's so much versatility in a card, and it's really easy to turn on. Into the Story, also really easy. They just have to have 7 or more, and then it's a 4 mana draw 4 at instant speed, which is super good, helps us continue to draw gas, draw our mill. Moving over to the sideboard here, we have Removal and So Tiny, Epic Downfall, and Heartless Act, and Airbows Intervention. These are basically against just whatever creatures your opponent could possibly play. We don't have a lot of removal in the main, so against all the aggressive decks, our mill plan kind of takes a back seat, and we really, really need to try and survive the early game. So a card like Airbows Intervention, great against aggro. So Tiny, 1 mana disruption. Not good at interacting with a card like Omnath, where the strength of it is its abilities, but against mono red, where they just have like 2 and 3 drop creatures that all they do is attack you, this card's great. Lone Mage's Domination, again, it's decent creature interaction. Some creatures that come back, like Phoenix Savash potentially. And Mystical Dispute is just it's a busted counterspell, right? It's really good. Something we're going to be thinking about in these games is this version of the list uses Luris and plays a little bit more cheap creatures in the Merfolk Secret Keeper, but there is a version of the deck that plays Teferi's Tutelage, which, if we can look up here, is a 3 mana enchantment that draws a card and discards whenever you play it, and then whenever you draw a card, target opponent mills 2, so it's really good within the story, and it's just good going along. But it doesn't have the value that you get from having Luris in your sideboard as a companion option, so we're going to be looking to see how we really feel about that, right? Luris is better against aggro, which is likely to see a surge. Our this hand seems kind of okay. Our Maddening Cacophony turns on Drown the Lock. This is a good counterspell on 2. This is good for removal. We don't have any of our 1-drops here, but we're pretty alright. Lightning Bolt card sleeves, not a good sign. Not a good sign. They mulled to 6, which is good, but not an all-around good sign. We're just going to play the Temple of Deceit here. We're looking for... Are we in for that? We already have our next 2 land drops. And on turn 2, we're going to hold up Jawari Disruption. I don't think we need that. We're pretty low curve control deck, all things considered, so I don't think we need to top that land. Raw Green Trium. Okay, so this could be a really good matchup for us. They're playing a 4-color adventure strategy that's pretty good. It's where our deck's trying to prey upon. Yeah, that is what it appears to be, so everything to hold up. Just going to play out our Swamp and continue to hold up our Jawari Disruption. Yep, and it's busted. Really good for us here. Does that mean they don't have a land? They must have a tap land. Oh, they played into it! Oh, goodness. Goodness, you love to see it, but, yeah. It sucks when you're on the other side. Yeah, so we're just gonna play a Maddening Cacophony here as a mill 8. We could keep holding it to mill for more. Our Drown Lock counters anything 2 or less. I actually think I'm gonna do that. I think we kind of missequenced here, but I think what I'm going to do is hold our Cacophony because it's pretty close to milling half their library. So I don't think I need to aggressively throw it away for 8. We can still hold up our John Lock for basically any spell here. Yeah, I'm just going to keep disrupting them early to slow them down. That's a great end of the story, which can propel us into a 6th land for the Cacophony. So, yeah, we just pass. And then we're going to play an Into the Story on the end of their turn. Potentially, we could want a Heartless Act, but I'm not sure of anything they play that we want a Heartless Act. Like, if they play an Omnath here, they can't play a land after it, so I think we're going to be okay with that. They probably have the Giant here, the 3-mana card. Adventure creature that searches a land. They really want to get down the Lucky Clover to get to play multiple spells. This is where being on the play is very, very good. Yeah, they do have the Beanstalk Giant, so really good for us to try and slow them down. This Rune Crab's gonna be really good. Yeah, they're just out of this game. They're too slow. They know they're gonna get milled for a bunch. Yeah, they're out of it. Okay, so 4 color. I'm not exactly sure exactly how I want to board in this matchup. I know we definitely want Epic Downfall, and I think Low Mage's Domination is interesting. Against Phoenix of Ash, I think it's fine. Otherwise, I don't think it's particularly important. We definitely want our Mystical Disputes, and I think we definitely want at least most of our negates. I think Heartless Act is fine because it instance be a way to interact with Omnath. I think Bloodchief's Thirst is all around pretty bad. It doesn't interact with the 3-mana adventure creatures for 1 mana. You have to pay 4, and Edgewell Innkeeper isn't that bad for us because we want them to be drawing cards. So yeah, sometimes we're not going to have a bunch of mill in hand, and we would like to kill it, but overall them drawing cards is mostly okay with us. So I think we just cut this card. I don't think it's good enough anymore. After that, I think it's maybe Trill a Heartless Act. I don't know if we want to trim a Merfolk Secret Keeper because they're trying to draw their whole deck, so our best way to fight that is to aggressively mill them, but I guess we trim 1. Keeping the Heartless Axe as interaction for Omnath to keep them from generating a lot of mana and doing a lot of dumb things. Yeah, Sand seems fine. It has a Ruin Crab. It has a land. I think we keep this. I think we play this out, tap turn 1. If we draw a land, we don't, but if we don't draw a land, we play this out. If we do draw a land, then yeah. See, the issue is I want this to come in as black so that we can play our Thieves Guild. So we just go here. If they play a tap land here, I think we want to play okay, so in this case, we could get Rune Crab value, but we could potentially hold up Negate for a Lucky Clover. That's hard. I think I want to get Rune Crab value here, but it is scary because we could potentially let a Lucky Clover resolve, which would just generate a lot of value, but I think we want to get our value out of this as Rune Crab because we're not in a position where we have a bunch of lands in play, or lands in hand to play, yeah, so this is where holding up Negate might have been pretty strong, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just rip this. Really looking for lands. That's not good. We're just going to rip this for a land. Hopefully we hit here. That's really bad, so all around, really awkward start, missing a land drop and letting the Lucky Clover resolve, but if we can rip a couple lands, we can be in a pretty good position. Yeah, this is what we wanted to stop, to slow them down. Maybe you're just always supposed to hold up Negate in this matchup. There was a line of play where instead of playing out the Ruin Crab, we just held up Negate, and then if they didn't do anything, we Frantic Inventory. And then we would just be like golden here. Whereas now, they just have so much mana generation. Yeah, they doubled Beanstalk Giant, yeah. So we're just absolute max punish for letting this Lucky Clover resolve here. Now, yeah, and we're just, I think we just have to try and hit lands here, no matter what. That Mystical Dispute. Yeah, we just missed again, yeah, so we were just like never in this game. Drew 3-4 extra cards, something like that, and we still just missed on lands. So I think even though our decisions didn't actually end up mattering here, I do think it was probably correct to try and hold it for the Lucky Clover because slowing them down is a lot more valuable than trying to aggressively mill them, right? Interesting. They're not going after the Ruin Crab? I guess they want to play around as having a Thieves Guild, but goodness, yeah, this is really bad. I mean, now we have to kill this Omnath right away, but it doesn't look good for us. This can be easily interacted with by a negate, yeah, so... Yeah, I don't know. You know, what are you gonna do? Yeah, and see now, like, ripping and Escape the Wild, like, doesn't matter, right? They still have 31 cards in their deck, and we're stuck on 2 lands, so they're gonna try and kill us as quickly as possible. Which they will likely succeed at doing, because we just have absolutely nothing going on. Because we're on 2 lands. So, yeah, they could just get any number of large cards, and we're just gonna lose this game. They grab a negate. They grab like an Ugin or something big like that. Waiting to see if they show us any more new information with this Fae of Wishes, but yeah, sure. Ugin we could have suspected it's there, but yeah, we're just not winning this game. Not on 2 lands. Alright, so that's exactly what we don't want happening. Yeah, so I guess moral story, hold up your negates for Lucky Clover, because it basically unlocked that entire game for them. I mean, it allowed them to ramp out 2 more additional lands with both of their the giant there, and do them both like the same turn, so pretty busted. I think this is fine. I think we can run this back. We just we want to be able to interact with that. Is there a role where we want another Heartless Act for Omnath? I don't think so. I think this is fine. Alright, so yeah, this hand seems fine. It doesn't have any counter spells, but it has some mill, it has Into the Story to gas up, it has an Epic Downfall, which can interact. I've seen some of these decks playing Phoenix of Ash, which is a escape creature that comes out of the graveyard. So I wanted the Epic Downfall to help fight that. We can't play a turn 2 Ruin Crab, so I'm just not going to try. I don't think we need this. I think we'd rather go for interaction. Although we kind of do just have the Turbo Mill plan. This is an interesting spot where... Do you want to keep this because it's a 1-mana mill for? Or do we want to dig for interaction? We have a Ruin Crab already, and we have a Thieves Guild Enforcer, which makes me want to dig for interaction. Yeah, I think I'm going to look for a counterspell. I think I'm going to go past this. There's an argument where the 0-4 might be like exactly just what we need to survive, but we have the Thieves Guild Enforcer, we have Epic Downfall. Yeah, so we're just going to get maximum Fabled Passage value right away here. We don't want them to interact with this. They could have Red Cap melee, but there's no way they're sacrificing their land. And if they have the red 1-drop land, it deals 1, not 3, so... We're just going to get full value here right away, where they can't interact with us. So now Secret Keeper might have been a good choice if we knew that we would draw Cacophony under it, but can't play around everything. We didn't have a counterspell here, so we didn't have anything to hold up if they had a Lucky Clover. That's really good for us. We just play a Swamp. No reason to play this out. Is there no reason to play it out? Let's think here for a second. We want it to get counterspelled. Part of me thinks that we do, so that our End of the Story resolves, right? But there's no way they're going to pass and hold up counterspell next turn as well. We're at 43. Do we just rip this? I think because we have End of the Story, we just rip this. I think we just let this get counterspelled. Do we? No, there's no way. They're so very obviously holding up counterspell here. There's no way we're supposed to just play so into their counterspell here, right? Make them do something. Bonecrusher Giant this, sure. So now we get to guarantee resolve our End of the Story. Which, do we rip that or the Maddening Cacophony? Because we're definitely ripping something here. I think we rip the End of the Story because we could potentially end up wanting to hold this to kick it. So yeah, I'm just going to play this, mill them with Ruin Crab. Play this now so it can't get Mystical Disputed or negated, and we get guaranteed to get the draw 4. We don't have to discard any cards in hand, so yeah. Yeah, that Edge Rolling Keeper isn't that scary because we're you know, Interestingly enough, we're totally okay with them drawing cards. Definitely play this one out here, mill them for 3. We want to hold our Maddening Cacophonies to dump for 6. It's a really interesting question, honestly. It's a really, really interesting one. I think we don't. I think we're just trying to survive, and so what we do here is we go ahead and take this Bone Crusher Giant out of play. And hold up our Mystical Dispute and our Drown in the Lock. Again, we don't care about the drawing cards because now we're in a turbo mill kind of situation. So everything that they draw to help us is very good for us. We potentially could have run this out here, but I want to hold up the Mystical Dispute for like an Escape of the Wilds or whatever. This mill's 5. I think I still want to counter it because they're obviously digging for something. So although it gets rid of 5 cards, it helps keep them off of lands, which slows them down. So I think this is just fine here. I was gonna say, if we draw a land, we just rip a Cacophony for 15, but now I don't think we do. Is there any world where we ended the story here? I don't think so, because our hand is full. I think we just mill them for a bunch. We mill them for 20 with this. Puts them down to 11 cards in their deck. Yeah, that seems pretty good to me. That seems like a good deal to me. Group another one. Now they're down to 11 cards in hand, and like, what can they possibly have left to be able to kill us? There are cards they could have, but we're likely pretty well set up. Obviously, they can resolve anything through a Drown in the Lock here because we're tapped out, but I think we're just fine. Yeah, like, this is drawing a card, right? It replaces itself, but it draws them one closer to getting milled out. So we're mostly okay with that. Definitely top that. It's best draw for our Ruined Crab here. Do we ever just... No, we play our Template of Seed, so we can't play that if we draw it off of Frantic Inventory, so there's no reason to. We just, we can hold up... So if we pick up Luris, it has the, we can get back the Thieves Guild Mage. And then we can hold up a Drown in the Lock for 2. Or we can hold up Into the Story or the Drown in the Lock. Yeah, I kind of like that. I kind of like playing the Merfolk Secret Keeper as a blocker to gain life, and then keeping these as interaction. Again, I don't think we care about this too much. I think we'd rather hold up a counterspell for whatever they're going to do with the extra Omnath mana. They're down to 6 in deck, so we just need to try and not die. That's great for us. Doesn't produce mana. I guess they have Fabled Passage, though. They're likely to not hit, and if they do, then they're one closer to milling out. But yeah, like, that's one like out of Fave, which is out of the sideboard, right? I mean, have they milled over all of their Fave Wishes? Let's see. 1 Fave Wishes, 2 Fave Wishes, 3 Fave Wishes, 4 Fave Wishes. So they don't have any more access to those. This we're just fine with. Oh, they search for a land with it. Oh, yeah, we're definitely okay with that one. 100%. Get closer to milling. They have to kill us this turn because they die with the Ruined Crab. Yep, that's, draw a card. Perfectly fine. All of this is just okay. Yep. Just ripping into the story, draw some cards here. And Merfolk Secret Keeper doing what it does best, which is blocking. As well as milling. And yeah, just kill them with our Ruined Crab here. Crab lethal. And there we go. Good game. Yeah, so this, I guess, potentially a really good way to attack the meta, right? People are playing a lot of the 4-color adventure deck, and this deck is just angled totally to beat it. And you still have, I think, enough interaction to be relevant in the aggro matchups. This hand is kind of clunky. It's really good against aggro with the triple Blood Chief's Ascension, but it's really bad against anything else. I think I'm going to keep it, because this will be really good if we face any kind of creature deck, and those are really bad matchups. They played Island Go, so this could possibly be the mirror, and in that case, all 4 of these cards are dead, and that means we're probably not going to win this first game. But that kind of just happens whenever you're playing control decks. Whenever you play the mirrors, your removal pieces are going to be dead. Blue-white. I'm not really sure what that means. Just going to play out a swamp here. I want to hold the Fabled Passage for Ruin Crab. Play a Temple. I could also just pick up my Luris. I don't know that I want to go obvious counters down. I think I'd rather just play out my mana here. Thirst for Meanings. This is like a blue-black or a blue-white like enchantment-based control. So this is really going to be a good matchup. But we have the awkward part of drawing, well, all this dead removal. So, top that? I don't think so. What do they discard? They discard the Birth of Meltis. That's really good for them. Be a pretty good matchup. This should also be a matchup where Luris can shine. Oh, they're doing Esper with that thing. Okay. Well, it bodes really well for our mill plan. So we just keep passing back and forth, not doing anything because there's no reason. This is something we can flash in on their turn, so just going to play my clear water pathway, go for blue, and pass the turn. So them drawing a bunch of cards with a card like Treacherous Blessing bodes really well. You know, we don't want them to draw a bunch of cards, but it helps our mill plan. Doom Foretold. That's interesting. I'm going to not flash in my Thieves Guild Enforcer, because this puts 7 in their graveyard, which is not enough for our end of the story, so I'm going to wait on that. Just let this go off. This can interact with the Planeswalkers, but this kills anything. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the Blood Chiefs. Blood Chief's Thirst. Play this here. We can Blood Chief's Thirst. They're 2/2. Now, whenever we flash in our Thieves Guild, it turns on our end of the story. So we just pass. Yeah, them drawing a bunch of cards bodes well for us. So hopefully they're drawing a bunch of removal that's also going to be dead. That should be really good for us. So slow, grindy, value-generating control, that's what we're looking for, right? Because we're just looking to mill past all of the things that matter. Another Doom Foretold. I think I have Frantic Inventory here. They're Mystical Disputing here. Well, that's just great for us. That's very good for us. So we're going to dump this card, and then that's going to allow us to guarantee resolve this into the story. And then we're going to play a Clearwater Pathway. Yeah, now we're looking very good. Them deciding to Mystical Dispute our 2-mana draw 1 is very good for us. Hopefully we can win this game by milling them out long, but as long as we can use our disruption pieces to try and keep them off of threats and just things that win the game, we should be in a pretty good position. We cannot Jawari Disruption this, so I think it's going to resolve no matter what, but we can kill it with Blood Chief's Thirst on our turn. So that's going to happen. But again, just drawing and discarding through cards, it looks pretty good for us overall. So we can just trade this here and do that. I think that's actually probably correct. Because it gains us the life, so it handles this 2/2 now. So I think I'm going to go ahead and flash this in and have it be an answer for this. And then we can Blood Chief's Thirst down the Teferi next turn. What is that? Athreos. Coin counter when a creature with a coin counter dies. Once put into exile, turn that card off of control. That's very interesting, huh? Yeah, I think we just go ahead and answer this here. It also has Vigilance, so it's not like we could flash this in an end step and then attack past this, so might as well just get rid of it now. This is really good. I think it's greedy to play it out, but it's very, very good. So we're going to go Blood Chief's Thirst here, kick it to kill the Teferi. And then hold up Jawari Disruption. Is that more important than picking up our Luris into our hand? I don't know. It's interesting. Um, I think so, yeah. I think so. Yeah, so now they see they're just discarding all their Treacherous Blessings because they're not trying to draw 3 against a mill deck. Are they really thinking about a negate here? I don't know. Yeah, we really want to hold this to mill a bunch, so I don't think I'm going to use it as just a mill 8 here. Although our Diswire Disruption is getting to where it's not going to generate a lot of value, so there's a chance that we should have just played this turn if we weren't going to play, weren't going to pick up our Luris. Yeah, because now it just doesn't do anything, right? Like, it just doesn't, we could try and rip it off to keep them off of being able to hold up a Neutralize, which I think I'm going to do. Because if they want to pay for this, they can't neutralize our next play, which is going to be a kicked Maddening Cacophony. I'm not going to expect that they're main decking Negate, especially in Esper. They probably main decking Dovin's Veto, and they've already played their land, so I think this is a totally fine play. The counterspell I would expect is just Dewari Disruption, which is what we played, and this only costs 6, so we can kick it without putting ourselves at risk of getting countered by this. So I think this is okay. They could also be main decking a Mystical Dispute, but I think this answers one of the problems that we could face, and I feel like the more likely one. So now that they're tapped out, I'm just gonna rip this. If they have a dispute, that sucks for us, but I think it's worth going for it. And it went off, so we just mill a bunch of cards. Now they're down to 16 in library, and now they're really hard pressed to be in this game. I'm just going to play out my Dewari Disruption so that we can better utilize our mana. It's likely to not be live at all. And now we want to have all my mana to do Luris things and into the story and stuff like that. Yeah, so they need to draw to try and find things to win. Let's take a look at their graveyard. Let's start seeing. So their Dance of the Mancing. We milled 3 of those, though. So that bodes really well for us. So milling them is not necessarily, like, can be very bad, but if we mill a bunch of cards at once, then we hit the Dance of the Mance. They also have Shark Typhoon. Okay, so yeah, they're just like an enchantment-based control deck. The Athreos is throwing me off, but I guess it's a good card to get back off of Dance of the Mance. It's a big unit. It's interesting. Again, we just hold this for the Ruin Crab. Do they have the 4th Dance of the Mance? Are they playing 4, and do they have the 4th? It looks like they do. Either that, or they're just looking to see what cards they have left. But they could be choosing with Dance of the Mance, so we could still just like lose this game out of nowhere. Because they have the 4th copy of Dance of the Mance, and we milled every possible enchantment they could ever want into their graveyard. But we're going to hope that that's not the case. Okay, so they have the 4th Dance of the Mance, and they get back 7, so... This, yeah, we might have got memed right on up out of this one, honestly. They're at 13 cards left, and they have overwhelming lethal in play. So what do we need to find? Luris is enough, because at best it's milling 2. You don't have any board wipes. So we're going to sacrifice this. I don't think Ruin Crab is reasonable out here. We're going to end the story. We're looking for Maddening Cacophonies, because we need to hit 2 of those. So we definitely have outs. We just need to get a little bit lucky here. And we hit 1 Maddening Cacophony, but not 2, so let this resolve, discard this. So we just don't have outs here, right? Because, well, they're drawing cards, so they draw. We're overwhelmingly dead here, so 1 removal spell does not matter at all. Hit another Maddening Cacophony. Is that enough? That is enough. Playing to the outs. Alright. So, yeah, sometimes you kind of create boards like that, where all you're trying to do is just, as aggressively as possible, mill them, and then they're going to draw 0 cards in their draw step, and they're going to lose. This is an interesting one because we don't want to fuel their dance demands, but basically our only way to win this game is to mill them. So I don't know, outside of playing a bunch of negates, our best way to fight that, which is likely, yeah, just playing a bunch of negates. Yeah, so we want negates, we want Mystical Dispute. Erebos' intervention is actually fantastic here, right? Exile up to twice X cards from our opponent's graveyard, so we can mill them and then exile their enchantments, so a couple of those seems really good. What's bad here? Heartless Act is not where we want to be. This is close because, like, Thieves Guild Enforcer doesn't really mill a lot. It mills 2, but it's also a 3/2, which is a relevant body that can attack down Planeswalker, but we definitely need to trim on some number of these. So, trim here. We don't really care if they resolve it to Fairy, so I don't know that we actually need this card at all. From what we saw, that's pretty much their only creature. This does hit big Shark Typhoons, though, which don't really have a good way to interact with those outside of Drown the Lock. So maybe that's the line. Keep in all 4 Thieves Guild Enforcer. Yeah, it's probably better than Merfolk Secret Keeper, but Merfolk Secret Keeper is a mill 4. I don't know, that's interesting. I'm going to trim a little bit of everything there. Keep 2 Bloodchief's Thirst to be a little bit on the safe side. They could also have other things they're going to bring in, so I guess I'll try it like that. And if this goes to game 3 and we don't see anything extra, we can probably trim Thieves Guild Enforcer a little bit. I'm going to keep this because, well, frankly, it's pretty great, and our Selendi Vision is a tap lane, so... We can go Ruin Crab on 2 and then trigger it twice, which is just very part of the course of what we're trying to do this game. So, yeah. We also do double Thieves Guild Enforcer, so really good early mill. Really good early mill. You're doing take lands, and we don't have any way to draw cards here, so... Okay, well that technically is a way to draw cards, but it's not exactly perfect. Just going to go ahead and activate this now so it can't be disrupted by a removal spell. We'll grab a swamp here. That is about as absurd as it gets for us, honestly. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. No reason to attack here. They have no 4 blocker. Thirst for Meaning. Do we negate this, or do we flash in our Thieves Guild Enforcer? I kind of want to hold up negate for what they could possibly play on 4. This is a pretty great negate target, though. Because we're kind of stuck on lands, trying to keep them off of things to do is a pretty good plan. I think I'm going to rip the negate here. I think that's worth it. I could be totally incorrect, but I think it's okay. It's almost certainly a draw 3, discard 1, so I think it's fine. I'm going to sacrifice this. We probably should sacrifice it on our turn. I think I grab a swamp here because we do have the double Thieves Guild Enforcer, and we want to play both of those out. Preferably together so that we get the guaranteed value. Yeah, I think we just have to play this out as a land. I don't think we really have a lot of leeway with that one. It is a landfall trigger for our Ruin Crab, and it just helps develop our mana. Even though it's a pretty good card to keep up in the early game in the control matchup, I think it just has to go. We could have tried just running a Maddening Cacophony there for a mill 8, which might have just been correct because we're going to dump one of these Thieves Guild Enforcers, but I think this is an okay line. They're flashing into Doom Foretold. Interesting. Yeah, so I just flash in a Thieves Guild Enforcer here. We could just cycle a Frantic Inventory. I'm actually going to be more mana efficient because we can, in upkeep, play this before we sacrifice this. Or if we don't find a land, we sacrifice the Ruined Crab. We found it into the story, so that really doesn't help us too much. We're not going to kill with damage, so I think it's more important to get the Thief Guild Enforcer triggers here to mill them for the full 4. And then just sacrifice one of those and keep our Ruined Crab around. In case we draw a land, which we did. And we're definitely going to play it here. And then we're definitely going to Magnet Cacophony. We'll probably get Mystical Disputed, but that clears the way for our Into the Story next turn. We're kind of just like turbo milling them out of this game. So, yeah, so they have the Dispute there, but then again, that helps our Dispute live for our Into the Story. I don't think it's worth blowing this up so that they have to sacrifice their Doomfortold to itself. Wait, do they have to do this anyway? Because it is a non-token perm. Yeah, so they have to sacrifice their Doomfortold anyway. So, I mean, we attack with this because if they block, it dies, and if they don't block, they take 3, so there's no reason not to. So we're both kind of a little bit out of cards, but we're way ahead on cards in deck, which is the plan with this deck. So it kind of just depends on what's going on. Okay, so they don't think they're going to win this game. So yeah, that's basically what you're trying to do.